Having read the documents and things, do you feel okay with how her handling of the ballots?
I don't know anything about her handling of anyone's ballot. That's not for me to say. I don't know.
Now, a lot of people are concerned about the cost of the special election for Rutherford. How do you respond to that? Why is this worth the $30,000 to the borough of Rutherford?
Well, as far as the way things have played out, we agreed to a special election the day of the first day of what was going to be a trial. And ultimately, I felt that it was in the borough's best interest to let the people of Rutherford decide who they want representing them. And I also didn't want Rutherford residents to incur legal fees and things of that nature to go through with the trial.
How would they have, though? How would there have been legal fees for the borough?
Not for the borough, for the borough's residents.
Okay.
So that made it clear to me that wasn't something, especially during these economic times, to have our fellow residents have to essentially defend their right to vote.
Todd, how about you? Why is it worth the money to you?
Well, the integrity of the vote is just so important. It's such a big part of our democracy. And first of all, I wasn't aware that it was going to cost us $30,000. But if you have someone that, I shouldn't touch that way. It's going to cost $30,000 for the election. It was no fault of mine. I did nothing illegal. I walked the streets of Rutherford. I spoke to the people of Rutherford. I asked the people to vote for me in Rutherford. But at the end of the day, we had to find out who was elected legally. And the person that is not elected legally shouldn't be sitting at a seat. And I just think that if, I used to work for the prosecutor's office, and we spend money on prosecuting people that they might do a crime for $20,000 and it costs us $50,000 or $100,000 to prosecute them, because that's the law. And what happened in this election was wrong.
Well, have either of you considered stepping down to save the money?
I would have. What I was looking to do is, I wanted to sit down with John Parnofiello and the attorneys, and I wanted to look at everything, the evidence that we had, and the rightful winner this should have never went to court. We should never have a re-election. The person that should have been elected, we should have worked it out. We should have, sat down and said, this is what we have. This is what you have. John Parnofiello won by 2 votes, or Todd Hennessey won by 4 votes.
Why didn't that happen? Why wasn't there a sit down and John, jump in? I don't want to.
I requested that several times. I said to my attorney, I said, climb it up, and let's sit down with John Parnofiello and them, and let's show them what we have, and maybe we can work this out. And I mentioned it to John Parnofiello after the fact, and he said to me he was never asked to do that.
John, did you ever consider stepping down to save the money for the borough?
Stepping down
from the election, or just saying, I won't, yeah.
Well, throughout this whole process, things kind of come as they come, and when there was uncertainty between the recount and the date to file a lawsuit, so we never really knew procedure was going to be. When it was determined that there was going to be a contest filed, it was after the new year. So the approach was, report for work until you're told not to go to work. And that was the approach to take. That day, like I said, there were improprieties on both sides, and at the end of the day, both parties agreed that it was the best interest of the borough to have a special election. And just like Todd said, people out of town should not be deciding the vote, the election, and we found on both sides that we had reason to believe that certain other people had voted. Regardless of what town it was, I'm not going to get involved in that. What's done is done. And now it's time to recharge the battery, get back to the issues that faced Rutherford, which is what we were doing for a little while before. And take it from there. And that's been my approach for the last month or so, and I continue to do that.
What do you think Rutherford needs from you guys, from whoever's elected, to kind of put this behind them? What needs to happen from whoever takes the seat up here to kind of move forward from this episode?
Well, whoever gets elected has a lot of work to do. This election is very important. It's about the quality of life of Rutherford for many years to come. It's not just we have a lot of problems right now, and somebody has to try to solve these problems and work very hard on these problems. I don't know. We have an election right now. There's no going special election. There's no going back. But if I had to do everything all over again, I would have done the same thing. Because like I said, I didn't have anybody that sent a ballot by mail or voted for me that was from out of town that I know about. The only thing that they could say that somebody had an R in their name, had someone help them with a ballot. And that person that had an R in their name might not even have voted for me.
Let's give John a chance to say, what would you do if you're up here to kind of put this behind the borough and move forward?
I think we just need to get to March 9th. We have
March 9th.
We have an election. One thing has led to the other. We can't say, I wish you did this, I wish you did that. At the end of the day, something we both agree to. And from that point on, we both run a tough campaign, just like we did in the fall. We have nothing to regret there. We've worked very hard.
We didn't. There was no negative thing on both sides.
I think you should both be commended. I've been watching you for how many months now. They always sit and talk, and you've conducted yourselves like gentlemen. Time. We have a couple of quick issues, so I'm going to ask a question, give me a yes or no, and a 2-second why, and that will go through a couple issues that we think have been on the minds of people in Rutherford. The first one is, do you think that borough employees should make contributions to their health insurance as a way of contributing to the budget shortfall? So remember, quick answers, lightning round.
I believe they should.
Why?
Well, our fiscal, our budget is terrible right now. We have to do something.
Now, John, we'll go to you quickly.
Yes, if it requires not having to, like I said, furloughs and layoffs being the last resort, if that's one way of relieving some of our budget shortfall, then yes.